I will talk about theater in Japan and no theater. So, a little bit about no theater. Virtually all plays in the present, no repertory, were written more than 400 years ago and are still performed much as they were written back in the day. So, a major influence in No's view of the world was Zen Buddhism, which teaches that ultimate peace comes from union with all beings, that individual's desire must be overcome, and that nothing in earthly life is permanent. No plays often involve protagonists, ghosts, demons, or obsessed human beings who often found peace because during life they were drawn to worldly honor, love, or other goals that keep drawing them back to the physical world. No dramas are classified into 5 types, which is God plays, warrior plays, woman plays, madness plays, and demon plays. Above all, No is a musical dance drama that evokes an emotional state and mood. So they don't really go off to trying to tell a story so much, but to like get you to feel something. Performers are split into 3 groups, which is actors, chorus, and musicians. Actors train from childhood and are expected to devote 20 years plus to perfecting their craft. As for instruments, they usually play 2 to 3 drums. They often have just 1 flute. They don't have other instruments, and that's basically it for that. As for costumes, the main character and his companions wear masks of painted wood. Many of them are passed down for generation to generation. Costumes are rich in color and design, based on the official dress of the 14th and 16th century. Most of the garments are made of embroidered silk, and chorus musicians and attendants wear stiff shoulder boards and divided skirts, the traditional dress of the samurai. As for the stage is divided into 3 areas. Although none is separated architecturally, except for by pillars, the largest area, the main stage, is enclosed by 4 pillars and is about 18 feet square. There are 2 entrances to the stage. The principal one, the bridge, is rolled walkway about 6 feet wide and 40 feet long, leading from the mirror room. And in front of on the bridge, there's actually 3 pine trees, which symbolize heaven, earth, and humanity. And the other entrance is the slit and cutthroat door. And that is it for No Theater.
Hi, my name is Luz Montes, and today we're going to talk about auditions and castings. We first want to ask our questions: what is the audition, what is the casting, and what the directors need for us. As we know, directors are an important part of the castings and auditions because they are the ones to choose who is going to be fit in the play. So it's according the skills, the actors, the experience, according the age, and according the background, cultural background. So as we know, today we have an Asian culture, and the Asian culture influenced us and remind us to keep our traditions and heritage. So today I dress up as a Hunan, who is one of the characters of Peking Opera, who is a married woman with a strong personality. In the Peking Opera is very famous. I have the opportunity to see two years ago about that, and it's very colorful, have very colorful costumes, and also the music, as like we hear now, is very strong. So the people with the be part of the King Opera prepared between 6 and 12 years. So it's a privilege to be part of the auditions and see the performance. We have so many other actors in Asia and Japanese actors who influence us, but most of the time when I remember it's like Jet Li or Pat Morita, where they are having a strong message to us For example, Pat Morita was the one in Karate Kid. The famous Mr. Miyagi tell us about the values, the culture, and other messages they live in their movies. So as we know, casting and auditions are important, but the most of that is our culture and traditions. I'm original from Peru, and my culture and traditions I always try to keep and try to teach my children as a part of the heritage. So, wish me luck with my audition. Thank you.
I'm Beckett Foster, and I'm here to talk about wayang kulit, which is an Indonesian spiritual performance art, usually performed by a spiritual leader using shadows and a fire and a sheet. And traditionally it's performed by somebody who is referred as a dalang, who, like I said, is a spiritual leader who tells great stories about Hindu epics. He is usually accompanied by a gamelan, which is a gong chime musical ensemble, basically. And the dalang, he controls everything. The story, he usually improvises the dialogue. He does every single character's voices. He controls every single puppet, and he usually performs something called the waking, which uses a wooden striker in between his toes to summon the spirits of the characters. He also cues the gamelans to play whenever he chooses. Usually lasts from 8 to sunrise. I'm here to talk a little bit about African theater as well. And so with African theater, not much was known by Europeans and Americans until around the 20th century. And a lot of this was despite Africa having a rich, extremely rich theatrical history with theatrical performances. And a lot of these performances involved a lot of dances and music, where the audience was encouraged to talk and to participate and to dance along with it and clap. They were very heavily involved. And a few examples of their many endless amounts of theatrical performances were like the Igongun, I think it is how you say it, from Nigeria, which one of its primary aspects was it involved a carrier collecting the evil of the community and carrying it away in a canoe. And I just thought that was amazing, as well as several others like South Africa having plays about laws about segregation, and North Africa having Egypt and its rich history all by itself.
Hi, my name is Francisca Tino. In this section, I will be discussing the roles of a producer in theater.
The producer have the financial and managerial task of making productions available to the public. They do not make artistic decisions directly. They do influence artistic decisions through their willingness or unwillingness to meet the request of the playwright, director, and other artists. The producer's job is to stay within budget, recover any investments made to produce the play, and earn any profit if possible. For example, in Broadway, the producer's role is more clearly defined. Broadway producers can be an organization, a group of individuals, or consortia who raises capital and carry out the other functions of the producer. Producers usually seek financial backing from many people or group who are willing to take financial risk. The role of a producer includes renting spaces for auditions and rehearsals, creating a budget and presenting it to investors, negotiate contract with all personnel, including director, musicians, dramaturg, actors, press agents, etc. Responsible for payroll and keeping financial statements and facilitate ticket sales, and is also responsible for closing the show at the end of its run on Broadway. A producer can be involved in choosing the play to be produced on Broadway as well. In other situations, the producer responsibilities are less clearly defined. For example, most professional resident companies have an artistic director and a managing director. They have a board of directors that must be consulted about many issues that concern the organization's well-being. They may also own their own theater. They are more concerned with financing the ongoing organization than a single production. Most of their time is spent pursuing grants or soliciting contributions. In community theater, the organization itself serves as the producers. Volunteers carry out many of the duties under the supervision of the organization's officers and board of directors. In educational theater, the producer's role may be divided among several people. The chair of the department or director of theater may have responsibilities that combine those of artistic and managing director. Overall, the producer is concerned with the business of show business. Some names of Broadway producers are Darrell Roth, who produced Kinky Boots 2013 and Indecent in 2017. Scott Rudin, who produced Hello Dolly in 2017 and To Kill a Mockingbird in 2018, which is one of my favorite novels. Jeffrey Seller, who produced Rent in 1996 and Hamilton in 2015, one of Broadway's most successful shows.
Hello, my name is Abel, and I'm going to be talking to you guys today about theater in Africa. So, a little bit about Africa. It is the second largest continent in the world and also the second most populous continent in the world. And there are over 800 different languages spoken in Africa because there's over 50 different countries inside Africa alone. And there's a lot of different ethnic and cultural diversity in Africa because of that. So, when it comes to theater in Africa, African performance, they include like activities that have religious rituals, festivals, ceremonies, storytelling, various kinds of celebration-related activities, weddings, and also specific play and themed theater productions and performances. I'll mention two in this presentation that I'm giving, specifically the Strong Breed, and another one that is called it's like a process of theater called umemulo. It's more like a celebration, but there's a lot of theater and production and performance related activities that go on in this. And so this is something that my friend in Africa, I have a friend in Africa in Zimbabwe, his name's Malcolm. He told me about this, and it's called umemulo. Is basically a celebration of a child becoming an adult. And when this happens, there's a lot of dancing, there's a lot of singing, you know. Africa is very famous for their tribal drums. This is actually an African tribal drum I have here. And in conclusion, to mention the two plays that I had mentioned earlier, the Umemulo and the Strong Breed, specifically another play that's related to the Strong Breed is called Egungun. And Egungun is similar to the Strong Breed in the sense that both these plays are about someone gathering all the evil in the community and carrying it away. And that is a very specific type of theater that is a notion that's specific to performance in Nigeria. Both of these plays have that notion of how there is someone who gathers and collects all the evil in the community and then carries it away. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this presentation and learned something new about it. Have a great day.
Other African countries with extensively developed performances include Ghana, Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, Togo, Sudan, and Ethiopia, Sierra Leone, Senegal, Mali, and the Ivory Coast. African theater is still handicapped by its colonialist heritage. Rather than judging it by European and American practices, it would be best to admire its broad range of theatrical activities, most of which, considering the enormous number of ethnic and linguistic divisions within Africa, understandably appeal to limited and local, but the often enthusiastic audiences. Hello, so there are two other traditional Japanese theatrical forms, which is bunraku and kabuki. In bunraku performance, which puppets represent the characters of the play, it was first appeared in the 17th century, and the bunraku is the most complex puppet theater in the world. And so there are 3 handlers who controls the movements of the puppet, and there's a narrator who sits the left side of the stage with the samisen player, and the puppets are usually 3 to 4 feet tall and elaborately costumed. Musical accompaniment is provided by samisen, and occasionally there are other instruments with lesser importance. So the stage itself is long and shallow. The major writer of the bunraku and kabuki was Chikamatsu Manzaemon, often considered as Japanese greatest playwright. Kabuki is the most popular type of theater among the Japanese traditional theaters. It has borrowed many of its plays and conventions from No and bunraku, but it has adapted to its own needs. The kabuki stage is now framed by proscenium opening about 90 feet wide, but only about 20 feet high. The auditorium is correspondingly wide and shallow, with all seats facing the stage. A raised walkway connects the stage to the back side of the auditorium. Most important entrances and exits are made along this walkway. Most important entrances, and one of the most popular kabuki plays is Takeda Izumo's Chishungora. While often produced in shorter versions, the original 11-act drama requires a full day to perform. A play about honor and revenge. It tells how 47 faithful samurai avenged the wrong done to their master. You may know this play by the movie called 47 Ronin. And kabuki acting is a combination of stylized speaking and dancing. And then there's kabuki is a Japanese theatrical form that appeals to most Westerners, and which is why it's the most popular among the others.
Hi, I am Jorge, and today I will talk about the director. The duties of the director are to decide how a script will be interpreted and a production concept that will shape in the staging. Directors start by reading the play several times to familiarize themselves with the elements that need to be added to the play. Some directors divided the script into a short segment. It can be units or times, defined by the input or departure of characters or major change in the motivation or the characters. The directors work closely with the artists, with the designers, and also with the playwright, if one is available, or they can choose to work alone. To develop a play, there can be many different approaches, but there are 3 basic approaches a director might use first. The first one, the literal approach. The director sees scenes literally and tries to bring the play to life as it is written. He does everything as the script says. The second, the translation approach. The director uses his artistic vision and adds his knowledge to improve the play. He still follows the script, but with more creative freedom. And the third, the author's approach. The director uses the script as a guide, changes the script, and adapts the script to improve the play. Creativity is at its peak, and they are artistically free. The director meets as soon as possible with the designer to discuss the play and the production concept. The director may have already formed his vision for the production, or it may evolve from such discussion. However, it is decided the focus of the production must be clear to all involved. Directors should also relate any demands they may have, such as shape of the set, the need for the multiple levels, the placement of entrances, a specific ambient, lighting, garment with a specific feature, etc. Once the casting is complete, the director works with the actors and their roles and the action drama to bring the script to life in the scenario. The director oversees release, rehearsals, and tries to foster a creative environment. Actors bring their own point of view, many of which may be novel. Most directors are willing to discuss actor response and flexible enough to adopt those that improve the production. Most directors try to create an atmosphere free of unnecessary tension in which the actors can explore and develop their roles. The director needs to be discreet and understand because each actor faces different challenges and may have favorite working method. Some actors take criticism gratefully in the presence of the other, but others can become argumentative or so embarrassed that it is hard for them to follow through.